What if I told you there's one specific number that completely separates those who struggle financially from those who build real wealth? That number is $100,000. And today I'm going to show you exactly why reaching your first $100,000 in investments is the most important financial milestone of your life, and the practical strategies to get there faster than you think. Let me tell you about Henry. He's 29, makes $70,000 a year, and has been trying to save for 6 years. He's managed to scrape together about $18,000, but it feels like he's running on a financial treadmill. Every month he saves a few $100s, but it never seems to add up to anything meaningful. Henry represents millions of people stuck in what I called the savings trap. They're doing everything right, budgeting, cutting expenses, investing, but they're not seeing the exponential growth they've heard about. Here's the thing that nobody tells you. When you're starting from zero, compound interest is practically invisible. Let me show you what I mean. If Henry saves $600 every month and invests it at 9% return, after 1 year, he has $7,200 in contributions plus $304 in interest. That $304 feels like absolutely nothing compared to the $7,200 he worked his butt off to save. After 2 years, he put in $14,400 in contributions and has earned around $13,12 in interest. Still feels like peanuts, right? This is where most people get discouraged and think investing doesn't work. But here's what Henry doesn't realize. He's building the foundation for something incredible. The mathematical reality is this. It takes approximately 8.5 years to save your first $100,000 if you're putting away $10,000 per year at a 7% return. That's nearly 9 years of grinding while seeing relatively small returns. But here's where it gets interesting. Once Henry hits that $100,000 mark, saving his next $100,000 will only take 5.5 years. The third $100,000, just 4 years. The fourth, only 3 years. This isn't magic, this is math. And there are 3 main reasons why reaching $100,000 feels impossible, but everything changes after. Reason 1 is psychological. We live in a world of instant gratification. We can order food in 30 minutes, but wealth building takes years of delayed gratification with little visible progress. Reason 2 is contribution dominance. When you're starting out, your monthly contributions completely dominate your returns. If you're saving $1,000 per month and your investments are returning $75, those returns feel meaningless. You're doing 93% of the work, compound interest is doing 7%. Reason 3 is that most people don't understand what $100,000 represents. It's the point where compound interest stops being lame and starts being life-changing. At $100,000 invested at 7%, you're earning $7,000 per year in investment returns. That's $583 per month that you didn't have to work for. For many people, that's a car payment or a significant chunk of rent. But here's the beautiful part. That $7,000 gets reinvested, which means next year you're earning returns on $107,000. Then $114,490. Then $122,504. The snowball has officially begun. Let me show you exactly what happens on your wealth journey. Years 1 to 8.5 is the grind. You're working towards your first $100,000. You contribute about $85,000 of your own money. Compound interest contributes $15,000. You're doing most of the heavy lifting. Years 8.5 to 14 is the balance. You're working towards your second $100,000. You contribute another $55,000, and compound interest contributes $45,000. The work is starting to balance out. Now look at this crossover point where compound interest starts doing more work than you are. This is years 14 to 18 and is called the flip. This happens when building your third $100,000. You contribute $40,000, but compound interest contributes $60,000. For the first time, interest is working harder than you are. By the time you reach $500,000, your investments are generating about $35,000 per year. That's nearly 4 times your annual contribution. When you hit $1 million, your money is making $70,000 per year, 7 times more than you're putting in. This is why wealthy people seem to get wealthier so quickly. They've crossed the compound interest threshold where the money works harder than they do. But it's not just about the math. When you have $100,000 invested, you start thinking differently about money. You stop seeing every dollar as something to spend and start seeing it as something that can multiply. You develop what psychologists call an abundance mindset. You also develop patience. You've proven to yourself that you can delay gratification for years. Having $100,000 gives you options and confidence to make decisions based on your future, not just paying today's bills. So here's 3 strategies to help you get to $100,000 faster. Strategy number 1 is income optimization. Most people focus entirely on cutting expenses, but there's a limit to how much you can cut. There's no limit to how much you can earn. Start by maximizing your income. Are you getting your full employer 401k match? That's free money. What about health savings accounts and other benefits? And is it time for a raise or job switch? Maybe. Here's the thing. Most people undervalue themselves. If you haven't gotten a raise in 2 years, you're probably being underpaid. The average person who switches jobs sees a 10 to 20% salary increase. That's extra income that can literally shave years off your journey to $100,000. Consider developing side income streams too. The gig economy makes it easier than ever to earn extra money, whether it's freelancing skills you already have, driving for rideshare apps, or selling products online. An extra $300 to $500 per month makes a massive difference. Let me show you the power of increasing income. If Henry can find an extra $200 per month, whether through a side hustle, raise, or by budgeting better, look how this changes his timeline. Instead of 8.5 years, he's looking at 7.2 years to hit 100,000. That's over a year faster. Strategy number 2 is smart expense optimization. The goal isn't to cut expenses just to cut them. It's to redirect your money towards your 100,000 goal. Focus on the big 3: housing, transportation, and food. Small changes here have massive impacts. Housing typically eats up 30 to 40% of your income. If you're spending more than that, you're making it nearly impossible to build wealth quickly. Consider getting a roommate, moving to a slightly less expensive area, or house hacking by renting out a room. Transportation is usually the second biggest expense. Do you really need that $600 car payment? A reliable used car with a $300 payment frees up about $300 per month for investing. Over 8 years, that difference alone could add $35,000 to your net worth. Food is where most people leak money without realizing it. The average American spends $3,500 per year on dining out. Cut that in half, and you found $1,750 annually for investing. I track every expense using this spreadsheet. You'd be amazed by how much you find when you actually look. The average person finds $300 to $500 per month they didn't know they were wasting. Strategy number 3 is investment optimization. For most people, low-cost index funds are the best choice. They're diversified, have low fees, and don't require you to pick individual stocks. I won't go too deep into this topic because I'm not qualified for that, but in general, you want to automate everything, set up automatic transfers from checking to investment accounts, take advantage of tax advantage accounts like 401ks and Roth IRAs. And here's a pro tip most people miss. Invest your raises immediately. When you get that 3% raise, don't lifestyle inflate. Automatically invest that extra money. You won't miss what you never had in your budget. Also, invest windfalls smartly. Tax refunds, bonuses, gifts. These aren't fun money. They're opportunities to accelerate your timeline. A $2,000 tax refund invested today becomes $16,000 in 30 years at 7% returns. Strategy number 4 is the 100,000 acceleration method. Instead of just saving a fixed amount every month, you increase your savings rate by 1% every 6 months. Start by saving 10% of your income. After 6 months, bump it up to 11%. 6 months later, 12%. This gradual increase is barely noticeable in your budget, but it dramatically speeds up your timeline. Take a look at the difference this makes. Someone making a flat 10% takes 8.5 years to hit 100,000. Someone using the acceleration method gets there in just over 7 years. The psychological benefit is huge too. You're constantly challenging yourself to live on less while earning more, which builds incredible financial discipline. First, understand this is a marathon, not a sprint. You're building sustainable wealth for decades. Second, focus on systems, not goals. Instead of obsessing over 100,000, obsess over your monthly savings rate and automation. Third, celebrate small wins. When you hit 25,000, celebrate. These milestones prove your system works. The journey to your first 100,000 won't be easy. It requires sacrifice, discipline, and patience. But it's absolutely worth it because once you cross that threshold, you've built the foundation for a lifetime of financial freedom. Remember, the first 100,000 is the hardest, but it's also the most important. Every wealthy person had to cross this threshold first. If this helped you understand why $100,000 changes everything, smash that like button and subscribe for more strategies to accelerate your wealth building. Drop a comment below. What's your current net worth and what's your plan to hit 100,000? All right, see you in the next one.